DCOM Special Rank Promotion Ceremony, St. Martin Youth Brigade, 2026. ODM calls on business community and tourism sector to review hurricane contingency plans. Venezuela earthquake's death toll rises to at least 2,600. St. Martin launches the 2026 Labor Force Survey to produce an up-to-date unemployment rate. From the island of St. Martin, this is SXM Daily News for July 3rd, 2026. We have more of the DCOM Special Rank Promotion Ceremony, St. Martin Youth Brigade, 2026 speech by Prime Minister Dr. Luc Mercelina and a speech by Minister of Justice.
And now you are being rewarded for that commitment. That is really something to be proud of. You know, growing up, many of us were taught that respect, discipline, and hard work were non-negotiable. We learned that how you carry yourself do matter. We learned that your name and your word meant and mean something. Sometimes in today's world, it feels like those values are fading. Social media nowadays tells young people to chase attention instead of chasing purpose. Too many are influenced by negativity instead of leadership. But today gives hope, because tonight proves that our youth are still willing to stand for something meaningful. The Youth Brigade is not just teaching young people how to march or wear a uniform. It is teaching them responsibility, teamwork, respect, accountability. That it's all about. It is teaching them how to lead themselves before they try to lead others. And that lesson alone can change lives. To the parents here tonight, this moment belongs to you. Because behind every young person standing proudly in formation is a parent, a grandparent, an aunt, an uncle, or guardian who sacrificed something. You woke up today early. You encouraged them when they became discouraged. You corrected them when necessary. You stood by them. Tonight you are seeing the result of that love and guidance. And to the coaches, mentors, and leaders of the youth, thank you. In a world where many criticize young people, you chose instead to invest in them. That matters more than words can express. My young people, let me say something directly to you this evening. Do not allow anyone to make you believe that because you came from a small island, your dreams must also be small. Never believe that. St. Martin may be small in size, but we have produced strong people, talented people, resilient people, and leaders who continue to make an impact across the world. But no matter where life takes you, never lose the values you are learning now. Respect, discipline, integrity, and service. Because character will take you further than talent ever can. Tonight, many of you are receiving promotions or just received your promotion, but I want you to understand something important. A promotion is not just about rank, it's about responsibility. The higher you rise, the more people will watch you. The younger members will follow your example. Your community will judge your actions. Leadership is not being better than others. Leadership is about helping others become better. And our country needs that kind of leadership. St. Martin needs young people who are disciplined, young people who care about their community, young people who understand that strength is not found in violence or anger or disrespect, but in self-control, courage, and unity. Tonight, as this brigade marches through the streets of Philipsburg, let the people of this country see more than a parade. Let them see hope. Let them see pride. Let them see the future of St. Martin moving forward together. Because despite the challenges we face as a country, and we do face challenges, believe me, I still believe deeply in the future of this country. I believe in it because I believe in our people, and I especially believe in our youth. To every brigade member being promoted tonight, congratulations. To every aspirant taking the oath tonight, wear that responsibility with pride. And to every young person listening to me this evening, your future is still full of possibilities. Keep striving, keep growing, keep believing in yourself, and never forget that your country believes in you too. May God continue to bless the St. Martin Youth Brigade. May God bless our young people, and may God continue to bless our beautiful island, St. Martin. Thank you.
Today is not simply about promotions. It's about recognizing the discipline, consistency, and perseverance behind them. Most people assume that the highest achievers in life got there because they were the most gifted, that they were simply born with something that other people didn't have. It's a comforting story, but the reality is actually different, and research doesn't actually support that. There's a psychologist at the University of Pennsylvania who spent years studying what actually separates people who succeed from those who do not. And across every environment that she studied, the same findings stood out. It was not intelligence that determined success. It was not natural talent, but it was something called grit. She defines grit as passion and perseverance toward long-term goals. The willingness to keep going, not because it's easy, but because the goal matters enough to stay committed through difficulty, setback, and slow progress. Her research produced a formula that has always stayed with me. That's talent multiplied by effort equals skill, and skill multiplied by effort equals achievement. I'll repeat it again. Talent multiplied by effort equals skill, and skill multiplied by effort equals achievement. So if you heard it properly, effort, it actually counted twice, not talent, but effort. And I want to be honest with you today because you deserve honesty more than you deserve a speech from a minister. I grew up playing competitive tennis, and I can tell you at a competitive level, this is one of the most psychologically demanding things that a person can do. Once players reach a certain technical standard, the differentiator usually isn't skill, but it's usually mental. It's the composure when the match is slipping out of your hands. It's the ability to lose a point, to absorb it, and still go back to the line and reset like nothing happened. And it's a particular feeling when you're in a tennis match and it's down to you're set behind, you're a breakdown, and really everything is against you and the match is slipping out of your fingertips. And at that moment, you have to decide what kind of person you're going to be. If you're going to keep fighting or you're going to give up. And no coach can make that choice for you. You're there by yourself, and you have to push through it. No amount of talent just carries you through that naturally when the nerves hit you and you feel the pit in the middle of your stomach. And the only thing that saves you is the quality that you spent years building, the habit that you don't quit, the habit that you just keep pushing on. That's what gets you to the other side of that match. Besides that, I also really love long-distance marathon rowing. And that's also something that very quickly teaches you that grit is not the absence of comfort, because you get really, really uncomfortable when you're pushing through thousands of meters. So it's the decision to continue despite what your mind is telling you, because your mind is like, stop, you don't gotta finish. It hurts, it'll be better if you stop, but you keep going. And I'm an attorney by profession. I hold an advanced degree. People have told me that I'm intelligent, I'm capable, I'm talented, and I appreciate those things. But if you ask me what I'm most proud of, it's none of those things. It's actually my grit. It's the part of me that was forged on the tennis court through the losses that I had to sit with, through the pressure that I had to learn to manage, through the slow and unglamorous work of becoming somebody who does not fold, who does not give up. That is what carried me here to this position. Not my credentials, but the grit behind them. Now, there's also an important distinction that I want to draw. And I'm bringing up grit because one of the thoughts today was discipline, being part of leadership. So they're related, but they're not the same. Discipline is the daily practice. It's what you do today and tomorrow and the day after. It's showing up to training when you're tired, and it's choosing accountability when avoidance would be easier. It's holding a standard for yourself even when nobody is watching. But grit is what keeps discipline alive when things become hard. Anyone can be disciplined on a good day, but grit is what it takes to sustain discipline on a bad day. It's what allows you to fail, absorb the lesson, and return to work without losing sight of the larger purpose. Grit is basically the backbone of discipline. And here is why this matters for every young person standing here. The world is going to test you, not once, but many times. And you'll work towards something and you'll fall short. You'll put in effort and it doesn't always immediately show results. You'll be compared to people who advance more than you with less struggle. And in those moments, your talent won't save you, your intelligence won't save you, only your grit will carry you through. And that's exactly why programs like the St. Martin Youth Brigade matter so deeply, and why the Ministry of Justice takes our responsibility with this program seriously. Because grit, it doesn't develop on its own. It doesn't grow in environments of chaos and neglect or low expectation. It grows where there's structure, where there's mentorship, where a young person is given a real challenge, supported through the difficulty of that challenge, and recognized when they rise to meet the challenge. And this is what this program creates. Not just drills and formations, but values, rules, honor, discipline, respect. A genuine experience of overcoming something. And that experience, repeated over time, becomes the foundation of a person who knows that they can handle hard things. And that is nation building. It is preventive work. It is some of the most important work being done on this island right now, if I may say so myself. We often speak about crime prevention as if it begins after something has already gone wrong. But true prevention starts much earlier. It starts with mentorship, with structure, with creating environments where young people feel seen, guided, challenged, and supported long before they ever reach a crossroads. Over the past weeks, my team and I have had the opportunity to meet with the Youth Brigade to discuss a crime prevention fund project and proposal and the future direction of this program. That conversation is one that's very important to me. The goal is not only to sustain what already exists, but to position this program for long-term growth and long-term impact, especially as it relates to youth development and early intervention. I'm genuinely excited about the direction of that work and the role that the ministry will play in supporting moving it forward. At the same time, one thing remains very clear to me. This responsibility cannot sit with one ministry alone. The reality is that the success of our youth is interconnected with every part of government and society. And youth development is not isolated work. It's national work. If we truly want safer communities tomorrow, then we must collectively invest in our young people today. And our country needs that. St. Martin needs young people who understand responsibility, young people who can think critically, young people who can lead with integrity, young people who understand that discipline is not punishment, but preparation, and that grit is what keeps you standing when things get hard. And that requires coordination, consistency, and leadership. Most importantly, it requires us to stop seeing youth programs as optional and start recognizing them as essential parts of national development across the board. To the members achieving a new rank today, take pride in what you've earned. I want you to understand something about where you're standing right now. There were probably days in the process when you wanted to stop, when progress felt invisible, when the work felt thankless, or the gap between where you were and where you wanted to be felt really too wide and too to cross. The fact that you're here today, receiving this recognition, it means that you didn't stop. You kept showing up. You kept choosing the harder option. And that's not a small thing, that's grit. And that quality, more than your rank, more than any certificate, is what will carry you through everything that comes next. Carry your new rank with humility, with responsibility, and with an understanding that leadership is not about what you've achieved. It's about the example that you set for others, especially for the members still early in their journey, watching how you carry yourself. To the members who are still building, still working hard towards the next milestone, do not underestimate what you're in the middle of right now. Growth is rarely visible when you sit inside of it. Grit is not a dramatic moment of heroism. It's quiet, and it's choosing consistency over distraction this afternoon, and accountability over excuses tomorrow morning, and effort over comfort the day after that. It's a series of small decisions over time that build something that nobody can take from you. And the research is clear on it. It's not the most talented people who reach their goals, it's the ones who refuse to quit. And you are in the process of becoming someone who does not quit. And that matters more than you realize right now. I also want to recognize the board members, the project leaders, the coaches, mentors, social workers, volunteers, the parents out there in the back, and everyone who continues to invest time, energy, and belief in all of these young people. Grit is partly innate, but it's also partly caught. Young people learn it from watching adults around them persist through difficulty with dignity. The work you are doing may not always receive the recognition that it deserves, but its impact is visible in every young person standing here today. Before I close, I want to speak directly to my colleagues across government and to all officials present. Programs like the Youth Brigade extend well beyond the responsibility of just one ministry. And I want to say this plainly. We cannot ask young people to develop grit while the institutions around them give up on them when the results are slow, funding becomes inconvenient, or the headlines move on to the next thing. Long-term investment in youth is itself an act of institutional grit. If we're serious about prevention, serious about stronger communities, and serious about a safer future for St. Martin, then our support for these initiatives must go beyond just our words. It must show up in partnership, in resources, and in visibility, and in sustained commitment, not just today, but over time. Because disciplined, gritty young people do not become trusted leaders on their own. They become trusted leaders because their country chose consistently and deliberately to invest in them. So, I think I made my point on grit. Everybody will leave with that word in their mind. So thank you all very much. And congratulations to everyone being promoted today. And may we all continue to build a stronger St. Martin together.
Are you SXM insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXM is cardless. Request your My SXM account today and enter the virtual office of SXM. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
SXM, yeah. Your social and health insurances.
National Disaster Coordinator and Fire Chief Clive Richardson is calling on the country's business community, particularly those operating within the tourism and hospitality sector, to review and strengthen their hurricane contingency and business continuity plans as the 2026 Atlantic hurricane season progresses. The Office of Disaster Management, ODM, is once again appealing to residents and businesses not to become complacent simply because the season has had a relatively quiet start. Hurricane season extends through November 30th, with the historical peak of activity occurring between mid-August and October. Preparedness cannot begin when a storm is already approaching the island, Richardson said. The time to prepare is now. Every business should already know what actions need to be taken to protect employees, customers, assets, and operations before a hurricane threatens Sint Maarten. ODM is encouraging all sectors of the economy, including hotels, resorts, restaurants, marinas, tour operators, retail businesses, transportation providers, and vacation rental management companies, to ensure their hurricane preparedness plans are current, practical, and understood by all staff members. Businesses should review evacuation and shelter procedures, secure important records and digital data, verify emergency communication systems, inspect buildings for vulnerabilities, confirm insurance coverage, protect critical equipment, and identify suppliers and contractors who can assist with post-storm recovery. Regular staff training and emergency drills can also help ensure employees understand their roles before, during, and after a hurricane. Vacation rental management companies are also encouraged to establish clear communication protocols with property owners and guests, including procedures for visitor notifications, evacuations, cancellations, emergency accommodations, and post-storm property inspections. Richardson emphasized that a well-developed hurricane preparedness plan not only helps protect lives and property, but also enables businesses to resume operations more quickly after a storm has passed. The safety of employees, visitors, and customers must always be the highest priority, Richardson stated. Every business owner has a responsibility to take reasonable measures to reduce risks and protect their operations. A business that is prepared today is far more resilient tomorrow. ODM noted that the country's economy depends heavily on a vibrant tourism and service sector. Every business, regardless of its size, contributes to Sint Maarten's economic recovery following a disaster. Businesses that can reopen quickly after an all-clear is issued help restore essential services, support employment, reassure visitors, and contribute to the island's overall resilience. The Office of Disaster Management also encourages businesses to coordinate their preparedness efforts with neighboring businesses, industry associations, and emergency services where appropriate. Sharing information and maintaining communication before and after a storm can strengthen community resilience and speed up recovery efforts. ODM reminds business owners and residents alike that hurricane preparedness is an ongoing process throughout the season. Plans should be reviewed regularly and updated as circumstances change to ensure they remain effective. The Department of Statistics, STAT, today announced the launch of its 2026 Labor Force Survey, LFS, the first full labor force survey in Sint Maarten since 2018. Data collection runs from July to September 2026. The LFS is a household sample survey and the main source of the country's official unemployment rate, labor force participation rate, and employment figures. The labor force survey is intended to be conducted every 2 years. It was last carried out in full in 2018, when the unemployment rate stood at 9.9%, see chart below. The COVID-19 pandemic forced the cancellation of the 2020 round. Labor market data were instead drawn from the 2022 population and housing census, which put unemployment at 6.5%. See chart below, while avoiding the expense of a separate survey. Staffing and budgetary constraints subsequently prevented the survey from being run in 2023 and 2025. The department now has the staff and budget in place, and the 2026 survey re-establishes the regular two-year cycle, a new international way of measuring employment. The 2026 survey applies the employment definition recommended by the International Labour Organization, ILO, adopted at its 19th International Conference of Labour Statisticians in 2013. A person is counted as employed if during the reference week they worked at least 1 hour for pay or profit, as an employee in their own business or as a contributing family worker. This replaces the 4-hour rule used in 2018. Because of this change, the 2026 results are not directly comparable with earlier years. Someone working only 1 to 3 hours a week for pay is now counted as employed, where previously they were not. A change in the unemployment rate may therefore reflect both the move to the current international standard and real developments in the labour market. The department is noting this from the outset, so the results, once published, are clearly understood. What the 2026 survey covers. The survey also includes a few questions on household spending, used to update the weights behind the Consumer Price Index, the official measure of inflation, and a short set of questions assessing how ready St. Martin's labour force is for artificial intelligence, AI. Considered how the survey is conducted. Trained interviewers will visit a representative sample of households across the island's districts. Every interviewer carries official stat identification. All information collected is strictly confidential, used for statistical purposes only, and reported solely as totals and averages. The accuracy of the results depends on the participation of the selected households, and the department thanks residents in advance for their cooperation.
Now for the weather forecast, tonight through Saturday evening, mostly cloudy and hazy. Isolated showers are possible. Surface winds, tonight through Saturday evening, east to east, southeast with a gentle to moderate breeze, ranging from 10 to 14 mph. Higher gusts are possible. State of the sea, slight waves or swells 2 to 4 feet. Outlook through Sunday evening, variably cloudy and hazy with isolated showers. And now your 3-day forecast.
Your social and health insurance is your social and health insurance.
Are you SXV insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXV is cardless. Request your My SXV account today and enter the virtual office of SXV. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
Your social and health insurance is.
A man has been rescued alive after being trapped for 8 days in the rubble of a building that collapsed after twin earthquakes in Venezuela. Emergency workers managed to free Hernan Gil more than 100 hours after they had first located him under 140 tons of rubble. Venezuela's acting president Delcy Rodriguez visited Gil in hospital on Thursday, calling him a living miracle in a video shared on social media. As of Thursday evening, 2,600 people are confirmed to have died in the quakes which hit Venezuela on 24 June, and tens of thousands are still missing.
Venezuela's interim president, Delcy Rodriguez, says that almost every official in La Guaira state, at the epicenter of last week's powerful twin earthquakes, died in the event. Nearly 2,600 people are now known to have been killed across Venezuela, and rescue efforts are ongoing. Earlier on Thursday, a man was pulled alive after more than a week trapped under the rubble of a multi-story car park. Well, Ms. Rodriguez added that there would be no mass graves following the earthquake, amid growing criticism around the preparedness of authorities. Our correspondent, Yogita Lamai, was at the scene for the rescue in La Guaira. She sent us this report.
It was a moment that had been in the making for days. Scores of rescuers had worked for more than 100 hours. And then it happened. A man who had been trapped in a collapsed underground parking lot was recovered on day 9 after the earthquake. Hernan Hill worked as a security guard. He's a husband and the father of 2 children. He'd survived and not been crushed, but the path out was blocked.
There it is. I'm watching the moment as this man who's been under the rubble, it's now day 9. It's day 9, and this man has been pulled out successfully. It's taken a mammoth rescue effort. People are trying to stay quiet here. There's a lot of joy in the air, but they're trying to stay quiet here because this is a man who's been underground, who was in this cramped position for days and days, didn't know whether he was going to survive, and now, wow, he has been pulled out.
This is the passage to the basement where Hernan was trapped. Rescuers had to clamber through a crevice, calling out to him. "Can you hear me? Be patient," they told him. Then they managed to suspend a camera so that they could see him. They also gave him water and supplements through a pipe. Victor Torres was among the first to make contact with him underground. Hernan is well and healthy, and he's on his way to meet his family. From Chile and all of the Americas, firefighters from different countries came together to rescue him, Victor told us. We'd been following their operation closely. A day earlier, rescue teams had built wooden props to hold up the walls so that when they drilled through to reach him, nothing would collapse and crush him. Just before his rescue, we spoke to his wife, Luzbima Gonzalez. "I'm very excited and thankful to God because He gave him another chance to live. People shouldn't lose faith and should pray a lot. There might be others alive under the rubble, like my husband," she said. These are the moments that are keeping rescuers and people going in Venezuela as they face the aftermath of a brutal disaster. Yogita Lamai, BBC News, La Guaira.
This is our SXM Daily Newscast. Thank you for joining us.